ball. Braves and Rangers about to get going from Arlington. So with that, we get it out to the guys calling today's game, Matt Vasgersian and John Smoltz. Fellas?
Well, Ryan, an unseasonably cool Texas afternoon on a busy day for sports in the Metroplex. Fox Saturday Baseball welcomes you to the middle game of a three-game weekend interleague series between the postseason hopeful Atlanta Braves and the homestanding Texas Rangers. With 15 to play in the regular season, the National League wildcard picture looks like this. The Giants and Pirates would go should the season end today. The Braves with 15 games left, 3 off the mark in that second wildcard spot. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. Two teams finishing up the regular season schedule in very different fashion. The Braves, John, still hopeful that there's some October baseball to play.
Well, it comes down to runs. They've got to score runs. They have not done that on a consistent basis. September has been really rough, and Freddie Gonzalez has done everything you could do as a manager to shake up the lineup. So it comes down to runs. Get 4 runs, their record's pretty good. If they're going to chase down 2 teams, their pitching's been good enough. Offensively, they got to step it up.
As far as the Rangers are concerned, a very disappointing season. Took another tough turn during the week with the unexpected resignation of Ron Washington. So with Tim Bogar in charge the rest of the way, the auditioning for 2015 has begun early.
It has, and a lot of young players are going to play meaningful games against teams in the playoffs. Also, maybe even for their jobs next year. I think the Rangers are in a good situation. If they get healthy, look for them to be right back in 2015 competing. This year it was a wash.
Rangers do have something to say about the postseason picture as they play a lot against contending teams like the Braves this afternoon. We're back with the starting lineups and opening pitch next. And Rangers almost set for baseball. The Braves hopeful once again that they can play into October with some ground to make up in the wild card race. Ranger fans still smiling despite a tough year. Jason Hayward and Freddie Freeman among those hoping that today they can turn things around after a disappointing Game 1 result for Atlanta yesterday. Little rainy here in the Metroplex this afternoon. Some clouds and some overcast. Certainly not as bad as the conditions out east. In fact, if you were expecting to see the Orioles and Yankees this afternoon, you'll be with us until the rain subsides in that matchup. With John Smoltz and J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian here in Arlington. As the Rangers 2015 audition continues, the home team taking the field this afternoon behind a rookie right-hander making his first ever major league start today. Let's get right to the Braves Taco Bell starting lineup. Sometimes you got to live Moss. This is how Fredi Gonzalez aligns his guys this afternoon in game 2 of the series. And a late switch announced by Fredi. Until moments ago, we thought Jason Hayward was leading off. In fact, it's Emilio Bonifacio atop the card. Phil Gosselin, Freddie Freeman, and Justin Upton bat 2 through 4. Jason Hayward not leading off, but batting number 5 this afternoon. The young catcher Christian Betancourt bats number 6. Tommy La Stella, Andrelton Simmons, and switch hitting infielder Ramiro Pena round things out for Atlanta. As mentioned, 24-year-old rookie right-hander Liz Alberto Bonilla making his first ever major league start this afternoon.
Yeah, for Bonilla, I'm sure he's not the total jitters because he's been out of the bullpen. He started a few games in the minor leagues, but this is a guy with 4 pitches and trying to make his name as a starter and trying to go through this Braves lineup who has struggled mightily in September. Coming into this series, they were last in average.
An extremely disappointing result yesterday for Atlanta in game 1 of the series. Hoping to come to Arlington over the weekend and take advantage of a team that, at least from the outside looking in, John, would appear to be in a state of disarray with the manager's resignation this week and so much youth served all over the field. The Rangers, as has been well documented, have lost a lot due to injury this year. And their season has taken on a completely different look for interim manager Tim Bogart, who wants to get a good first-hand look at everything he's got over the remaining 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, they're not even close to the same team. Offensively, pitching, not even close. Statistically, they're not going to be a fair representation because of the amount of injuries they've had. So it is an opportunity to look at some guys and see if they have what it takes for potentially next year cracking the lineup or making the ball club.
Well, this game hasn't officially started yet, but I, for one, John, am disappointed. 2:07 local time. Had this game started a minute and a half earlier, we would have witnessed a Rangers franchise record for the earliest first pitch ever at this ballpark. Instead, that record gets away from us once again.
I know you were all excited about that, and you were actually doing your best to hurry this thing up. But
it's the little things in life. We are underway with ball 2 to Emilio Bonifacio, the switch hitter leading things off today. Bonifacio, Gosselin, and Freeman for Atlanta. No word as to why the late lineup switch, but we will check in with J.P. Morosi shortly to get another Braves status update, because once again Fredi Gonzalez is forced to pen a lineup without one of his big offensive guns. Evan Gattis not out there once again today, still recovering from what must be a really bad case of strep throat.
Yeah, you would almost think that Evan Gattis would be the perfect DH here, and they haven't been able to get him in the lineup. They do really well when he does well at the plate, and statistically they don't do as well, of course, record-wise when he doesn't. So he's been a big part of their offense.
2 balls and 2 strikes from the rookie right-hander to Emilio Bonifacio, and a full count.
Well, for Bonilla, what you're going to see is fastball's 92 with some sink. He's got a slider, more like a cutter. Changeup has good arm action on it, and his curveball has got a little bit bigger break, not super sharp. And he's going to rely on some command, and right now he's worked the count full.
And there's ball 4, the leadoff hitter aboard. We say hello this afternoon for the first time to J.P. Morosi with the aforementioned status update. What's going on with Evan Gattis, J.P.?
Yeah, Matt, unfortunately, Evan Gattis is going to be out for this entire weekend series. There's a lot of anticipation. Gattis is from the Dallas area, but he has strep throat, still symptomatic today, Matt. So he will not play this weekend, and maybe not even until Tuesday.
Wow, and for a team, John, as you documented, that has been really offensively challenged this month, the last guy that the Braves wanted to be without. So here's Phil Gosselin now after the leadoff walk. Apparently, Gattis' status required a trip to a hospital. He was not admitted overnight. It was an outpatient procedure. But as J.P. Morosi reports, the hope was that he'd be able to play sometime this weekend, and that will not be the case.
Well, as we mentioned, Freddie, as a manager, there's only so many things you can do. You've often heard managers in the past, when things go real bad, they just put the lineup in a hat and pull out the names and see if that can't be the right formula for success. Freddie's tried it all. And I think that's been part of the reasons why this team has been so inconsistent. They've had some guys come up, and La Stella and Gosselin put some energy a little bit into the lineup. They've made more contact of late, but Freddie Freeman and Justin Upton have all the pressure in the world trying to deliver.
On the ground is shortstop. Andrus to Odor. Back to Rosales to double play.
Now this is the pitcher's greatest friend right here. You walk the leadoff hitter, which never is anything too good can come out of it. But then you get a chance to get a ground ball double play and you reset the whole lineup back to 2 outs, and now Freddie Freeman.
So Freeman with the bases empty and dealing with an overloaded right side of the infield as the Rangers play the exaggerated shift. Certainly one of the themes in Major League Baseball this year. Just one defender on the entire left side of the infield. That's Luis Sardinas at short. He's the third baseman, by the way, and everybody loaded up on the right side. Next offering to the two-time All-Star misses off the corner, and it's 2-0.
You notice Bonilla pitching out of the stretch. We've seen more starters than I can ever remember pitching out of the stretch the entire game. Of course, Yu Darvish has probably made it the most famous. And then you see an abbreviated delivery by a lot of guys like David Price. It almost looks like he's throwing out of the stretch. So keeping it simple for a guy who's been out of the pen and throws a lot of big high pressure pitches out of the pen, out of the stretch, he's going to stay there the entire time and see how long he can go.
Freeman bounces that one foul. 3 balls and a strike to the Braves offensive leader Freddie Freeman. And between Freeman and Justin Upton, who waits on deck, I don't know that there's a easy answer for team MVP honors. Both of those Braves have been instrumental in Atlanta's success this year as Freddie draws ball 4. Second walk in this first inning by the rookie right-hander. So a chance for Justin Upton to bat with a runner aboard. The two-time All-Star leads the club with 27 home runs, just a few RBI shy of his first 100-run batted-in campaign.
Justin Upton has had 2 incredible months of where he's been so hot that you get 2 and 3 guys hot in a lineup, you can carry the entire club. But what's happened is it's kind of a jigsaw puzzle. Some guys get hot and then they all don't seem to find the right time together, and that's why the Braves lineup has not been consistent enough. They've gone through too many stretches where they've been shut out 13 times on the year.
Upton behind 0-2. Yeah, you can hear about how the offense is misfired anecdotally, and then when you look at the team batting average at 243 and you compare it with other Braves teams of even recent vintage, it's striking how they have struggled offensively this year. As Bonilla takes care of Justin Upton on 3 pitches and works around a couple of first inning walks to pitch a scoreless top of the first. of the first in his first ever major league start. This is how Tim Bogar lines his home squad today. The Rangers starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to lift Moss. Leonis Martin will get a long look at that leadoff spot from here on out. He'll lead off today, batting first in center field. Elvis Andrus, Rougned Odor, and Adrian Beltre 2 through 4. Ryan Rua, Tomas Telis, Adam Rosales, Luis Sardinas, and Michael Choice round things out for the Rangers. The 5 through 9 part of the Texas order with fewer than 150 combined major league starts. They will face the ace of the Atlanta staff, Julio Teheran. Not only leads the team in making his 31st start of the year today, but all of his numbers are in line on league leaderboards across the National League, including just a .233 batting average, the 5th lowest in the circuit. Leonis Martin set to lead things off, and he takes a look at strike one.
Yeah, Teheran has not been given the most run support, and it's really indicative in his record.
Martin with a drive out to center field. Emilio Bonifacio is there. 2 pitches and 1 out for Teheran.
To put that in perspective, 2 runs or less, they've done that 12 times in his game. He's 1-8 with a 3.15 ERA. When he's been given 3 to 5 runs, he's 8-3, and they've done that 13 times. So he's not been the product of a lot of run support, and lately maybe feeling a little bit of the fact that he's gone 200 innings for the first time in his career. Lost his last 2 games, but he's had an outstanding year, and one that, again, the record does not relate that.
1 gone now for Elvis Andrus. Well, to back up your point, John, Julio Teheran's inning workload by season, and it starts in 2009 in the minors. He is in uncharted territory already.
And this is the progression of a pitcher that, you know, when you get to this time of the year and your team's fighting for the playoffs, you have to mentally be better than the physically part of what really can be a tiring part of the season. We already mentioned pitching in Texas here. That's a break in the weather, as it could be 95 to 100 degrees, and then of course you're battling the heat. But Julio's done a nice job. 61 degrees.
What? Is that thing working?
Possible.
We caught a break, I'll tell you, and so did the Braves coming here in this unseasonably cool stretch. One of the best in the business is Andrelton Simmons, who makes that play look routine to his left, and there are 2 away.
You know, we have 2 of the better young shortstop that each club has tied up, and each guy probably could do a little better offensively, which they're both hoping, but defensively this is what you hope in a shortstop. He has everything you could possibly want: the arm, the range, and you see the 2013 Gold Glove. There'll be more of those, I can assure you.
2 quick outs for Julio Teheran. Now it's Rougned Odor. The rookie second baseman batting third for Tim Bogar this afternoon. A .253 average to start play today. And one of the young Rangers, and I do mean young, just 20 years old, who the club is still trying to figure out the best possible route for. And by that I mean, is Rougned Odor going to settle into a top of the lineup guy? Is he going to bat third, fourth, fifth throughout his career? It would seem unlikely, though he's batting third today. There is still quite a bit of evaluating going on down the stretch for the Rangers.
Yeah, very interesting times. I mean, I can only think, as a young player, you would never think that this many of them would have gotten this opportunity. You know, I remember being in the minor leagues, looking at one spot being open. This has been the whole club almost. A lot of these guys were in Double-A playing together.
Only the Cubs are younger by average this year. Take the days out of it. White Sox, Astros, Rangers, average age of 27 years old. And Julio Teheran with an impressive start to the afternoon. A 1-2-3 bottom half of the first. $1 cravings menu at Taco Bell. Live Más. Non-stop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason beginning September 30th. Anybody's guess what we got, too, once we get there. Back with John Smoltz and J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. Jason Hayward takes a big swing on the first offering by rookie right-hander Luis Alberto Bonilla and sends a fly ball to Leonis Martin. How about the wild card race in the American League? I mean, there are so many compelling division story and wild card stories at this juncture in baseball. But with the demise of the Oakland A's, the resurgence of the Mariners and Royals brands, and the rest of what's happening with the Tigers and the Central Division, there's a three-way tie atop the AL wildcard standings board. And I don't even know that I could handicap it at this hour.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And of course, Seattle and Oakland playing each other, and that will change. But you got to almost like the hard charging Seattle and their momentum that they have moving forward. They kind of stuck in there all year. We're a long ways back in the division, and no one could have thought that they might even catch the first place wild card team, Oakland A's, and they have definitely done that.
Two teams in action again today. Sonny Gray, Felix Hernandez. That's been a great story. The National League Central has been a terrific story, as has been the NL wild card, as Christian Betancourt swings and misses behind 1 and 2 now.
You know, I've been pushing and dreaming for something that probably will never happen because I want it so bad. I want that three-way, four-way tie for 2 spots. I want to see that. I want to see it how it plays out.
A wave and a miss, and 2 strikeouts for Luis Alberto Bonilla.
I even want to see it with that 4-way tie with 1 divisional winner in that mix. So you have to have a divisional playoff to figure out who wins the division, then the losers back into the 3-way playoff to determine the 2 teams. You see how it goes? That's perfect.
Do you know what kind of a logistics nightmare you're suggesting for the league, and even for you, my friend? You might get caught in the mess of that.
It'd be exciting for the fans.
Here's Tommy La Stella now with 2 away and the bases empty. I would agree. And on the occasion that there's been a tiebreaker game to determine who gets to a wild card, or a tiebreaker game in general, the old game number 163, that fascinating win or go home dynamic, it is a lot of fun. And who knows, we might get it this year. 2 balls and no strikes to Tommy La Stella. La Stella DHing this afternoon, and drives that one out to right. Michael Choice drifting toward the line to put it away and make for a very quick 1-2-3 top of the second. Still scoreless in Arlington. Sportscast is sponsored by your next truck, Ford F-150. On cue, John, the Ford keys to the game.
Yeah, some offense somewhere. These are two of the worst teams in the post All-Star in runs scored. Texas is last, and the Braves are 27th. So any kind of runs is going to feel great. You know, it's unlike football. This game's not played with emotion, but when your team can score some runs and start feeling good and shaking hands, you feel better.
Here's Adrian Beltre now leading things off in the home half of the second.
If there's ever a term given professional, I think this guy is one of the greatest professionals in our sport. Here he's part of a team that has kind of gone the other way, and it would have been easier to slack offensively and statistically, and he has not done that one bit. Matter of fact, he's having an unbelievable year without the regulars in his lineup for the most part, and credit to him and his leadership. When things have kind of gone the other way, he has not.
A ball and a strike to count to Adrian Beltre, leading things off in the second. Danson had been in the box, 1-2. Well, in the case of the Braves, and you talk about how these two teams have in common the fact that runs have been hard to come by since the All-Star break. The Braves are still very much in play for the postseason, 3 back of the wild card with 15 to play. They have a chance to make history if they get to the postseason while scoring at their current clip. 29th in the majors in runs scored entering the series. And since the league expanded to 30 teams in '98, no team has reached the postseason ranked any lower than 27th in the big leagues in runs scored.
Yeah, and that pretty much will tell the story. Even last year, as good as it went for the Braves in the regular season with all the home runs they hit, they struck out an alarming amount of times. And it doesn't play in the postseason when you're facing all those tough starters and you're not facing the 4 and 5s anymore. So the Braves have to figure something out moving forward and how they're going to be able to consistently put that lineup and score runs with how they're made. They're made for hitting home runs and striking out.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Adrian Beltre. Just got a piece of that breaking ball to stick around at 2-2. Let's bring JP Morosi in this conversation as well. It would be hard to imagine, JP, the Braves get there and set a record with not a lot of offense. Somebody would have to get hot for them to go deep in that scenario.
There's no question, Matt, and certainly Justin Upton is a good candidate. He's about to have his first 100 RBI season, but I think the fact that Fredi Gonzalez had to change his lineup today is evidence of just how frustrating this offense has been. He actually had one entire lineup written out and then a second one that his coaches and he had talked over, and he said, you know what, I'll post this one, but a few minutes later changed his mind, and that's why we had the wholesale changes in the lineup. So Fredi Gonzalez looking for some kind of spark to drive in those runs in the middle part of the lineup.
Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes on Adrian Beltre. Not far, John, from that pick it out of the hat scenario that you kind of talked about as a hypothetical ha-ha earlier today.
Yeah, there's some things that have got him tied. Of course, BJ has not been able to do what they expected offensively. It's been a really tough struggle. He's striking out a lot. You don't have that speed when you don't have BJ in the lineup. Of course, he can steal bases if he gets on. I don't think Jason Hayward is a leadoff hitter, but he's been willing to go there and try that spot, give him the best chance to win.
Tehran finally finishes off Adrian Beltre. Back-to-back strikeouts dating back to the first, and there's 1 away.
But it's a lot of pressure to put on these pitchers. You see Beltre, he's got all kinds of different swings. He can hit from his knee, by the way. We may even see one of those swings today. But Tehran has pitched in a lot of close games. Even his last one was a 0-0 game. Hadn't given up many hits. And the pressure of pitching in close games constantly and all year eventually wears down a pitcher. Mentally, I think they've done the best job you could possibly do and hung in there. And it's because of the pitching that they're even in a playoff scenario.
So 1 gone for Tehran as he goes to work against the rookie left fielder Ryan Rua. A 17th round draft choice back in 2011 and the first player ever drafted out of Lake Erie College in Ohio. Ball and a strike, the count to Ryan Rua, making his 13th start here this afternoon, and one of a growing handful of players. It's not just one or two guys that are here as a September call-up that are trying to take advantage of an opportunity to play with the big league eyes on them. We had an interesting conversation yesterday with Tim Bogar as we kind of shift to the Rangers side of this matchup. Tim is in a very unusual spot because not only is he an evaluator, but he himself is being evaluated in part. There's a managerial vacancy here moving forward. He was named the interim manager upon Ron Washington's resignation. He is a candidate for the job moving forward. And I think most tellingly, the directive that he was given by Rangers general manager John Daniels was, look, you're not being judged by every win and loss here. On a hop for Phil Gosselin, and there were two away. And I would imagine that from Tim's perspective, and he told us as much, it was reassuring to know that he wasn't being judged on, say, every failed hit and run, by every lineup permutation that may or may not work. He's being looked at in a bigger sense here as a candidate moving forward.
Yeah, and he also said it was an emotionally tough time when they found out, because out of the blue, Ron Washington, of course, resigned, and he had meant so much to this.
A bunt attempt that's popped up by Thomas Telis. We'll talk more about Tim Bogar's future with the Rangers moving forward, still scoreless. Rangers moving forward without Ron Washington, Texas manager since 2007 until his resignation this week. 18 postseason wins, a couple of World Series appearances. His 370 wins from 2010 through last year, the second most in baseball. A very highly regarded figure in the Texas baseball scene and somebody that the Rangers family will miss moving forward.
Yeah, they especially even Tim Bogar, he was part of the reason he came over because of Ron Washington.
The liner off the bat of Anderson Simmons.
I think anytime you have a guy like that with the amount of passion he played with as a player and then brings that as a manager, he brought that passion both from the dugout and inside his intensity with his players, and he led this club to a pretty incredible run. You know, a moment, a strike away twice from winning the World Series. And now Tim Bogart's trying to not only, as you said, put in his time, but see what the future holds for him.
One away here to start the third. Now it's the number 9 hitter Ramiro Pena. Just a couple of walks. Nearly the first time through the order for Bonilla as he starts Pena with a strike.
Yeah, not overpowering, but he's kind of closed in his stance, and I don't know what the hitters see as far as his fastball. He's got some sink to his fastball. Changeup's been pretty good, in the curveball we've seen already. He starts on the third base side and closes up right there with his front side and then attacks the hitter.
Good breaking ball taken for a strike. Pena at 225. Switch hitting middle infielder getting a start at second base this afternoon, while Tommy La Stella DHs today. And the 0-2. Changeup that misses outside. Bonilla's AAA numbers this year might seem abbreviated when you talk about a guy starting this afternoon. 74 innings of work. All but 6 of his 39 appearances came out of the bullpen. He didn't make the conversion to starter until very late in the AAA season. Adam Rosales stays with a tough hop to Bonilla covering for the out. A fine play by a guy who's been a utility man throughout his major league career, Adam Rosales.
Yeah, this is just outstanding. He sees in front of it, and then at the last minute takes the old Olay approach, but was able to get his reaction pretty good. Sure, the guys will bust his chops a little bit about that, but a good play, and the pitcher, of course, covering.
Adams had a lot of opportunity to play down the stretch for the Rangers, making his 13th consecutive start this afternoon. Back to the top of the order now, and Emilio Bonifacio with 2 out and the bases empty. Bonifacio drew the leadoff walk and then was erased on the double play off the bat of Phil Gosselin. You know, you'd guess from the outside looking in, speaking of Bonilla and the Rangers, this is an ideal circumstance for a guy who's just getting his feet wet as a starter at any level to come up to the big leagues, get an opportunity against a contending team, and maybe get 2 more starts down the stretch, depending on the thought process in the front office. That's whacked into right, and the first base hit of the afternoon comes off the bat of Emilio Bonifacio. Then again, there have been a lot of auditions in Arlington this year. They have set a number of records for players and pitchers used in a major league season. Here's Phil Gosselin now with 2 out and a base runner aboard.
Yeah, it's just not possible to even think about how a team could go through something like that and happen in so many different ways.
There goes Bonifacio. Throw down his second is not in time. Had a big jump that time, and Emilio Bonifacio steals that bag easily.
Big leg kick, and the leg kick kind of doesn't get down fast enough, and a good jump allowing the Braves to be in scoring position with 2 outs.
22 stolen bases for Bonifacio. That includes his time with the Cubs before the trade this year. That's his 8th bag with the Braves. So a ball and a strike from Gosselin. First time that Bonilla has been able to work here with a runner in scoring position, and Gosselin sends the ball out to center. A little dying flare that Martin can't make the play on. Bonifacio scores from second, 1-0 Atlanta.
This is the big swing, tough read off of a center fielder straight on. The ball has some spin, hit off the end of the bat, and of course he breaks back thinking the swing was going to indicate a deeper ball, and this right drops in front. Braves will take anything they could possibly get, and a 2-out single and then stolen base hit is you see that stat right there, 48-16 when they score first.
Convincing success when they put the first run on the board. Now it's Freddie Freeman who shortened up and took a strike.
The Rangers having the year they're having. There's a surprising large amount of people cheering for the Braves here in Rangers Park. This is a great place when the fans and the team in the last couple of years, it is a loud, they love their Rangers. Of course, this year we've already documented how it's going the other way. They're hoping their other team across the way, the Cowboys, could possibly pick it up, but that hasn't been off to a good start. But this place is something. When playoff baseball here at this park is fun to be at.
No question. Yeah, the Rangers' success up until this year had done a lot to cut into this part of the world being a football country. Make no mistake, they still love their Cowboys as well they should, and they still love football. But the front page domination that the pigskin had over the last number of years in September and October had to give way to the baseball guys, as Freeman sends a little drifter out into the opposite corner that drops in front of Rua. Here comes Goslin to score, and Freddie Freeman is driven in a 2-out run to make it 2-0 Atlanta. A more unusual RBI double you'd be hard-pressed to find.
Both of these balls you could have caught barehanded. They were hit so soft, but the Braves don't care at this point. They were in perfect spots, again, off the end of the bat. He's trying to find it. He thinks it might go foul, and this ball takes a high hop, and if you're the Rangers, you're hoping it goes left into the stands, ground rule double, and they won't score, or even a fan touches it. He did barehead the ground hop, and 2 runs for the Braves.
His 62nd extra base hit this season drives in Freeman's 73rd run of the year. He's been on base in both of his plate appearances today.
Mike Maddox comes out and basically echoing the same thing. Hey, there's nothing you can do about that. Keep pitching. Mike Maddox has probably made more trips this year than he's made the entire time he's been out as the pitching coach for the Rangers.
So 3 straight 2-out hits, the last 2 of which have driven in runs, and now Justin Upton, the 2-time All-Star, who was a strikeout victim to end the first. You know, you and I were talking about this before we went on the air. You've got Bonilla, who has not made a whole lot of professional starts, and this is his first at the major league level. You wouldn't look for his going very deep into the day. There's a little rollover ground ball to shortstop. Andrus has got it, and the damage is limited at 2 in the Atlanta half of the third. Through 2.5, Braves on the board first, 2-0 Atlanta. Tonight, college football returns with the doubleheader on Fox as the Illinois Fighting Illini square off against the Washington Huskies. Then Brett Hundley and the 12th-ranked UCLA Bruins take on the Texas Longhorns right there. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Longhorns playing at Jerry's World across the street. That's going to be a big-time watch later on tonight on Fox. Adam Rosales leads things off against Julio Teheran in the home third. 2-0 Atlanta.
Teheran's probably, he can't even imagine what it's like in September to get some runs. He hasn't gotten any runs until this time. He's been part of that no-hitter and, of course, shut out twice. And that's been this theme, really, for the Braves. They've wasted a lot of great pitching opportunities, especially early, when they just haven't scored any runs. 37 times, 1 run or less they have scored this year. And now they got 2 runs. That must feel like game's over.
12-0. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to Adam Rosales. Bottom third of the order here in the Texas half of the third.
Alex Wood, who pitched yesterday, has been the victim of the most least run support. He's lost 10 games and only got 13 runs in those games. So you can add that to the frustration list of really, really good games pitched, but not the result.
You know, it's funny how we talk about Julio Teheran as being this, you know, salty, long in the tooth veteran leader. And I guess we don't discuss it that way, but it feels like that. Because at the age of 23, just wrapping up his second full season, he's one of the guys that's been here a while already. This is a very young staff. And when the decision was made to let Tim Hudson walk via free agency, Julio Teheran became kind of the guy. They added Irvin Santana later via free agency. Aaron Harang later via free agency. But Teheran is considered one of the leaders on the staff, despite the fact he's only 23 and despite the fact that he's in his second full season. Full count to Rosales, and there's ball 4.
Well, part of that is also some of the injuries the Braves staff incurred in spring training. Of course, they lost 3/5 of their rotation due to Tommy John injuries. Beachy, Medlin, and Alex Wood was thrust into the rotation. Of course, Mike Minor started off a little bit slow due to his injury, so the Braves had to kind of scramble at the last minute and put together their rotation, which, by the way, has just pitched way beyond anybody's expectations. No one could see this coming out of spring training.
Yeah. Here's Luis Sardinas now. Switch hitting second baseman with a leadoff hitter aboard. First base runner of the afternoon against Teheran.
The Rangers yesterday got a glimpse of why they missed their rotation so bad. Of course, nobody can boast of the amount of pitchers. 15th starting pitcher today for the Texas Rangers.
Amazing.
Derek Holland pitched a gem yesterday, coming back from his injury, so you look forward to next year with him in the rotation.
Little ground ball to Simmons. Flips to Pena for 1. The relay back to Freeman in time for a well-turned double play.
Simmons, one of the best we've already talked about, had to work with a couple different second basemen this year, but see how quick he gets rid of it. The turn, pretty good. Fast runner. Turn into double play. Simmons the mainstay, and then of course second base has been a revolving door, if you will, for the Braves. Ugla getting released.
Glenn Hubbard, where have you gone? 2 gone, bases empty now for Michael Choice. Choice 1 for his last 12. And again, we say this about so many of the Rangers in the lineup today. One of the younger players hoping to open up some eyes here down the stretch. Michael Choice, a former first-round pick. Oakland took him as their first rounder in 2010 out of nearby UT Arlington. A drive out to left center. Upton and Bonifacio are there for it, and Bonifacio makes the catch to wrap up a 1-2-3 bottom half of the third. Today's telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile and by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. Pleased to be joined by Derek Holland this half inning, who moments ago had to just make sure that the camera time was preserved. Benji Molina just couldn't get out of his lane.
Yeah, that was unacceptable.
Glad you straightened that out.
He's still, look at him, still trying to take my TV time. Get out of here.
Top half of the fourth as Jason Hayward leads things off for the Braves. And we are joined by Derek Holland, who's coming off a great outing yesterday. Derek, congratulations on such a terrific comeback from the disabled list. You've been pretty good since coming back, and I'll ask you the dumb question. How do you feel?
I feel very good. You know, I'm just happy to be out there. I want to give the fans something to look forward to for 2015. It's been a frustrating season for us.
Yeah, speaking of that, you lose your whole rotation just about, and you're one of the few that's able to come back. I mean, not too long ago, you guys were competing for what you wanted to, but it's got to feel good to at least get back out and throw and have some momentum working towards next year.
Oh, heck yeah. That's the goal, is to get out there and show that I'm able to perform, and everything's going right. The staff has done a great job of getting me healthy and back out on the field. But most of all, like I said, we're building for next year, and I want to give them something to look at.
The Rangers are going to look a lot different in 2015, one would imagine. And the biggest change, and it was one that probably caught everybody in the clubhouse by as much surprise as it did us, is that after Ron Washington's resignation this week, there'll be a new skipper in place next year. And I know that Wash was very impactful on your career, and you kind of celebrated that through Instagram this week. In your own words, Derek, what did Ron Washington mean in terms of your development as a big league starter?
No, it's like I've always been saying the whole time. He was like a father to me. He taught me a lot, both on and off the field. I got to spend a lot of time with him as well, both on and off the field. And he's just showed me so much about the game of baseball and how to really get into it and everything. But most of all, it's just going to be different without him being here, without that super excitement on the bench. Him running in place in his spot and jumping like he's swinging the bat when the guys are hitting. That's one thing we're going to miss for sure.
Here's Christian Betancourt now with the leadoff hitter aboard.
Derek, I know no one ever wants to go on the DL, and no one ever wants to miss time. But what have you learned being away from the game that you maybe appreciate different, or that it might help you do to the future?
Well, you just never take anything for granted. I mean, nobody wants to go on the DL. There's no doubt about that. It's a frustrating thing. It helped me get more mentally stronger as I was progressing through all my rehab with everything. But just playing the game of baseball and then just to sit on the side hurt, you get to see a lot of things going on and how much you really miss the game and how passionate you really are about the game.
1-0 home is swatted to third. Sardinius to Odor. It goes around the horn for the double play. Already our third of the afternoon. So since we've already got two out, Derek, and it appears we're running out of time with you, got to hit you with the college football stuff. What was going on in your locker recently with all the Notre Dame gear?
Oh, man.
I
was hoping nobody would bring that up, but, I'm a big Michigan fan, diehard. And obviously we didn't really show up against Notre Dame, but I had to take the punishment with it. I made a bet with Daniel Robertson, lost to him there, and obviously the rest is amazing. He put up a nice giant roll of toilet paper for me, which was actually the Notre Dame flag, and then he gave me some Notre Dame T-shirts and a hat. And I have to wear the hat or the T-shirt for the whole week, and anytime I'm working out or anything that I do, I have to have it on.
And that's still going on right now?
It is, but I'm not wearing it underneath.
Okay.
That's for sure.
We won't tell.
Please don't.
2 out, bases empty here for Tommy La Stella. It almost begs a follow-up question, Derek. How does an Ohio kid, what's with the Michigan? How did that happen?
Well, actually, it's as crazy as my brother was a huge Michigan fan growing up, and I looked up to him to college sports and everything, and then for some odd reason, I don't know how, he decided to be that other team, Ohio State, and or as I should say the Ohio State, because that's how they like to say it.
Right.
But he became one of those fans. I stayed on the other side. I started to understand what was going on, and just kind of stayed that way. And actually, one thing I will say, I tried to come back and play ball at Ohio State, and one of the coaches, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but did not really want to recruit junior college players. So I just said, all right, there's another reason why I can hate you guys.
It's ball 4 to Tommy La Stella. Second walk of the inning by the rookie right-hander Lizoverto Bonilla. We want to have you comment while you're still with us here, Derek, too, on the fact that there's so many young pitchers that have had an opportunity with injuries, yours included, of course. Have you been paying attention to some of these young guys, and what do you think when you watch somebody like Lizoverto Bonilla throw the ball this afternoon?
Well, I haven't really got to see Bonilla too much, but some of the other guys I've been trying to help out, do as much as I can, because I guess I'm pretty much a veteran now with this rotation. But I just try to help them as much as I can, and we've got a strong group of young guys coming through. And I think this is perfect for them to get the opportunity to come out here and show us what they can do, so that way we can have a strong rotation for next year. And also, if something were to happen again, injury-wise, these guys have already got the experience and they can step right in.
2-out base runner now for Andrelton Simmons. He lined to center back in the 3rd inning. And that's chopped to the left side of the infield. Smothered by Andrus. He won't have a play, however. Elvis did a nice job just to get to that ball.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
You know that baseball game that came out, the MLB The Show?
Yeah.
The one that you're in? I really feel like I'm playing that game right now. Does it feel like you're commentating one of those games?
Like life imitating art?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so good. I mean, I'm just checking this out.
Yeah. You know what I can do for you next year on that game? If you want to write your own dialogue for that game, I'm glad to put it on as an exchange for the time you've given us on the telecast today.
I promise you don't want me to do that.
No, we can do it. Every time a user plays Derek Holland on MLB The Show, it will be your script that comes up. Seriously.
Oh, hey, let's see what we can do then. We'll see what we can work out. I like that.
A little conversation on the mound as Mike Maddox goes out to chat things over with Bonilla. Very quick conversation. Of course, John Smoltz played at a time when video games for baseball, it was like Pong.
Yeah. Stick
Is that
people.
back when Ty Cobb was playing, right?
Stick people.
back in those days, you guys invented baseball.
There were games when you were still pitching, right? There were video games.
Baseball Stars, best by
was
Nintendo.
No, I think it was it that or All Star or something like that? All Star Baseball.
Yeah, RBI.
Or RBI Baseball. That's right. Yeah, the Nintendo days.
Yeah.
First offering to Ramiro Pena misses off the plate. Runners aboard. Men at first and second with 2 gone here in the visitors' half of the 4th. Braves on top of the Rangers 2-0.
You know what's crazy is I watched John play. This was my favorite team growing up, actually.
The Braves were.
Yes, they were on TV all the time.
TBS.
Popped him up. Telis will yield to Sardinas. Derek Holland, thanks for the time as always. Continued success. Great watching you back out there again.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Still 2-0 Atlanta. It's documented with pictures and names. Notable Rangers injuries: Chu, Fielder, Profar, Moreland, each of whom were supposed to contribute big time this year. And it's not just among the hitters' ranks that the Rangers took a hit this year. You Darvish, Martin Perez, who was off to such a terrific start this year on the mound, Matt Harrison, Tanner Shepard's a valuable swingman. They have lost a lot this year. I don't think any team could make the case, the Rangers can, that injuries have cost them virtually the entire season. Texas leads things off in the fourth with Leonis Martin with a big swing and miss. He falls to 1-1.
Yeah, these numbers get even more staggering when you see them in totality. 64 players used, 40 pitchers used, and then look at the games missed. I want to go on record to say that it is going to be obviously the biggest win differential between any teams next year is going to be the Rangers.
Infield pop for Pena, one away.
And I'll go as far as to say that I believe they'll be in the playoffs too. That's how good the future looks for them, for how bad the year has gone. If they can get their guys back, of course everybody knows about the trade of Prince Fielder and the move that they made to create some offense and stability at first base. But I think their value comes with their strength in numbers. And when you lose that many, no chance can you win baseball games in 162 games where it's shown up.
One gone for Elvis Andrus now. He grounded out in his first try today. Let's bring JP Morosi in on this conversation because, JP, as you know, the losses for the Rangers this year, it's not only injuries among the player ranks, but they've lost a lot of their intel. A lot of the front office success in Arlington is so good that it was needed elsewhere.
Exactly, and to John's point, it's really validation of the strength of the plan that the Rangers have, that A.J. Preller, one of their assistant GMs, was hired to be the new GM in San Diego, and one of their other assistant GMs, Thad Levine, is on the list to interview in Arizona as well.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good night to Elvis Andrus. And there are two away here in the fourth.
Well, this is just painting the outside part and see the ball come back over the plate, fools them. And I'll tell you what, talk about adjustments. Tehran has made more adjustments in 1 year than any pitcher, and it's not as noticeable as people would think. But really, he changed the way he places his feet on the mound and on the rubber, and that is a total different and big change. You're talking about going from the first base side of the rubber to the third base side of the rubber. That's like night and day when you think about pitchers who are so accustomed to the way that they throw for most of their career, and it really shown up in his success by that change right there, just where he places his feet.
Ball with no strikes to Rougned Odor. Into shallow left. Upton coming on, Simmons going out, and it's a 1-2-3 fourth for Julio Tehran. Yeah, I know. coming to Fox that critics are already raving about, saying things like, quote, "It's a lightning bolt of fresh air with the IT ensemble of the season. You don't want to miss Red Band Society this Wednesday at 9/8 Central on Fox." Luis Alberto Bonilla back to work in the top half of the 5th inning. And I'll get the top of the Braves order. Bonifacio, Goslin, and Freeman. This was the part of the lineup that translated a couple of runs in the Atlanta half of the 3rd. Little tapper comebacker and one away in the 5th. After a rain delay, the Yankees and Orioles are underway. Let's check in with Ryan Field for an update. All right, Ryan, thanks. You know, we keep saying this, John, regarding the Yankees and the wild card, that, you know, that was it. Okay, they lost yesterday. That was it. They lost last week. That was it. Yesterday being swept by the Orioles, and swept by the Orioles in a doubleheader for the first time since 1984. Are we prepared to say with any finality?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just too much to overcome, and they've got too many games with the Orioles, who are playing great baseball. And seemingly, no matter what happens to Baltimore, they're able to deflect it with this shield of we're okay.
Yeah.
We got a lot of guys that can fill the void. And what a great year Baltimore has had. And who could have ever seen this separation of 10 to 11 games in the East?
Yeah.
No way. So great job for Baltimore. And the Yankees just ran out of the same scenario that Texas had. Too many injuries to key positions, not enough offense.
Pitching staff, among other phases of the Yankee game that was just ravaged by injury. Here's Freddie Freeman now with 2 gone. But considering all that, Brian Cashman did a masterful job at some kind of below the radar acquisitions. Nobody thought Brandon McCarthy was going to come over there from Arizona and be as good as he has. Same thing Chris Capuano. You know, he wasn't acquiring 10-time All-Stars, but he put some really good pieces in place. And they made a pretty good run.
Yeah, they did. And it was almost a little bit desperation. I mean, who can we get and how can we get it for as cheap as we can without turning and losing so many picks in your farm system?
It's a nifty pick by Adam Rosales and a 1-2-3 fifth for Bonilla. Still 2-0 Braves. Sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. We have reached the middle of the afternoon as the middle of the order will try to get something done against a stingy Julio Teheran this afternoon. He has struck out a pair. Check that, he struck out 3, walked a batter, and is yet to allow a base hit. Beltre, Rua, and Telis here in the 5th for Texas.
Well, for obvious reasons, this is the one guy in the lineup. When you're going through a scouting report, you go, he cannot beat me. He is having a great year, and everybody else will have to do that. So every time you can face Beltre with nobody on, it's a good feeling.
And speaking of the scouting reports, as Beltre takes one of his patented big swings and misses, Christian Bethancourt, who is appearing in a game for just the 19th time this season, receiving a very young starter. Youth is definitely served in this Braves battery today. And Bethancourt, according to J.P. Morosi, went through a first earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, Matt, it was actually yesterday, according to John's old teammate Eddie Perez. Eddie told me that Bethancourt actually ran the Braves scouting meeting yesterday. You can imagine being a rookie catcher, September call-up, sitting there, not in your first language. Bethancourt, of course, from Panama, leading the scouting meeting. So very poised moment for that young catcher.
And they've both got it working for him this afternoon. That's 4 strikeouts for Teheran today.
You can tell the energy and the respect that this guy commands at the plate. Beltre, those are some of the best fastballs Teheran has thrown all game. 94. Teheran is basically cruising speed at 90, 89, 91. He can rev it up there, but this late in the year, he really has worked on the command of his pitches, not leaking back over the middle of the plate, using his off speed to set up a hitter.
And gets a strike call to Ryan Rua.
You can tell he's energized by those 2 runs. I mean, can you imagine what that must feel like when you haven't gotten any runs in September and you're feeling like this is the chance that I can hold this game right here and possibly win it with the 2 runs they've given me. I can't think of a stranger baseball season than this one in many regards. You got the World Series champs Boston Red Sox going upside down. You've got a lot of injuries, more injuries than we've ever seen. Tommy John has become the word nobody wants to hear anymore. You've got teams that are not scoring. Baseball's down with hitting, and everyone wants to know the reason. Is it pitching? Is it a combination of things? You've got stats from teams that don't make sense, like I think it's the Cardinals and the Royals have a chance to get to the playoffs last in home runs in each respective league. There's just a lot of things. The more you dig, the more you're going, wow, I cannot figure out the way the trend is going for some teams.
And it takes a more unusual turn seemingly every day.
Yeah.
And every time the Oakland A's have their comfort level for the postseason shaved by a few percentage points, and that's been happening regularly the last few weeks. They're one of 5 major league teams that had a division lead of 6 or more games this season and watched it all go away.
Yeah, some big trades, and actually those teams after those trades really had a reversal of fortunes. The Tigers are back on top, but they had struggled since they got David Price, and of course their injuries. The Oakland A's, to me, it's one of those things that's going to be talked for a long time if it doesn't work out for them. But I don't think it was a horrible trade. I really believed they were going to be better for it.
Rua pops it up. Freddie Freeman's under it. And that's 4 2/3 without allowing a base hit.
And let me explain, because I know that it's one of those what do you need most? And the A's had not gotten past the first round in quite some time and had been able to win the division. And because they had a young pitching staff, and because they ran into the hot Tigers and Justin Verlander, so to speak, I think he got some veteran arms that will allow him to go deeper into the postseason once they got there. Now the trick is now they got to get there. They had a big lead, and now they got to fight for their playoff life. But the schedule should help them a little bit if they can just find a way to not get swept by the Mariners.
7 left with the Rangers. Speaking of Oakland, Next offering to Tomas Telis is in for a strike, and it's 1-1. But the A's had a 12-game swing in the month of August. Two things have to happen. One team has to get cold. That happened to the A's. And then another team has to get hot. And that happened with the Angels. They're 15-2 over their last 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that's an amazing reversal. Really is. And the Braves got to have the same scenario play out for them. I mean, if they're going to make a push to the playoffs, they need a little bit of help because they don't play the Milwaukee Brewers. But the team they do play that's in front of them 4 times, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that's at home. So you've got to have that play out in a way where you are only facing and chasing one team. As you look at the Braves' remaining schedule, of course, 3 more with the Nationals.
Yeah, one would think on first glance those would be tough matchups for the Braves because the Nats are one of the best teams in the league, if not in all the baseball. But Atlanta's handled them this year and the last couple of years. That's into the corner for Jason Hayward, running out of room and making the catch in foul territory to retire the side. Julio Teheran is not allowed a hit through 5. 2-0 Braves. Sponsored by Bayer Back and Body, the official pain reliever of Major League Baseball. And by the Gillette Fusion Pro Glide, now with FlexBall technology. It's shaving rebuilt. The Braves on top 2-0 as we head to the top of the 6th. Justin Upton will lead things off for Atlanta. Upton, Hayward, and Bethancourt here for the Braves.
And Bonilla has done a nice job for the Rangers. He's been 2 bloop hits. If you think about it, the 2 runs they scored were on a misread in center field, and then once that happened, the opposite field double for Freddie Freeman, and he's working into the 6th inning, which is an encouraging sign for the Rangers and for himself as he makes his first ever start in the big leagues.
Got out of a little mini jam in the 4th, a couple of walks in the 1st, but as you mentioned, down just 2-0 in the middle of the afternoon. He's in front of the 2-time All-Star Justin Upton, 0-2. Series wraps up tomorrow afternoon with Colby Lewis and left-hander Mike Minor for Atlanta. 1-2 now.
You know, the Rangers this year, obviously we documented how bad it's going, but these 2 teams, the Braves and the Rangers, in the last 4 years have the 2nd and 3rd best record, both sitting at 370 wins. So it puts in perspective the success the Rangers have had. The Yankees only 2 wins ahead of both those teams in the last 4 years.
Fly ball slicing into foul territory. Rosales has room and makes the catch. So Upton retired. That'll bring up Jason Hayward. And this is, make no mistake, part of the core of the Braves. Andrelton Simmons a part of it at only 25 years old. And Freddie Freeman, 25 years old. Upton's the old man of the bunch at 27.
Yeah, it's pretty good group. They need a little more offensively out of Simmons. I think he's going to figure it out. Defensively, can't ask any more for a young shortstop. And then let's not forget they've locked up Tehran as well. And he's a 24-year-old cornerstone starter. He's ace, and they're going to have him around for a while. So it's been a little frustrating, though, in Atlanta with the fact that all of these guys and not been able to really muster any runs. You know, this has been, it almost seems like in April when they won, I think, 17 games, they could have won 25. It was that good of pitching. It was unbelievable. And they just did not score enough runs to take advantage of that month. And then even when they had the lead against the Washington Nationals, they went in 2 big droughts, 2 7-game-plus losing streaks. And it really has cost them the opportunity to not only be closer to the Nationals, but closer to the playoffs as well.
And we're not only talking about this year. As you take a look at their .243 batting average, that's one of the lowest in franchise history, which is amazing. But this has been kind of the Braves the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And with some different pieces involved. Dan Uggla not in the plans this year, kind of cut from the plan, I suppose, midway season as Hayward bounces out. There's 2 away. But there was a lot put on Uggla. There was a lot put on B.J. Upton as far as the Braves being an outhouse or castle type offense, right? They're either going to beat you into submission with a bunch of home runs, or they're going to strike out 13 times and get shut out.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, it looks good when it's going good, and it really looks bad when it's not. And that's that frustration of, you know, it would be different if they had to score 6 and 7 runs because the pitching staff just could not keep people down. But that's not been the case. We're talking about 3 or 4 runs being the key. And when you score 1 run 37 times or fewer, being shut down 13 of those times, so 24 games, 1 run or less, that's tough. And they're trying to figure it out on the fly with some of these guys, and that's why you've seen the infusion of La Stella, Goslin. Even went over and got Bonifacio, but he's not an everyday player. He's a nice fill-in and can play multiple positions. So Freddie has really done everything you can do. I mean, short of, like we said, put the lineup in a hat and whatever comes up, comes up.
Ball on a strike, the count to Christian Bethancourt. 1-2.
Gaddis not being in the lineup certainly does not help them. It hurts them. I mean, his power and the year he was having before he got hurt.
Two outs, bases empty. Tommy La Stella waits on deck. Well, one of the big developing stories in this one for sure is what's going to happen on the other side of the scorecard. When this game goes to the bottom of the 6th, Texas has the bottom of the order looking for their first base hit of the afternoon. And a called strike 3 taken by Bethancourt. We'll go there now with the Braves on top 2-0. Is brought to you by Bank of America. The rookie right-hander Luis Alberto Bonilla has been pretty good in his first ever big league start. His problem is that Julio Teheran has been really good, having not allowed a hit through 5. Maybe the better comparison, though, would be Julio Teheran today and John Smoltz 23 years ago.
Hey now, watch out. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll be the first to tell you he's way more polished than I was back then, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. And there's the you didn't see the lawnmower I tried to start. That's my, I try to get that little pump fist with starting the lawnmower. But here's this guy right here. I'm a big fan of Julio Teheran and what he can do and what he's already done before the age of 24.
He's been terrific here this afternoon. And he goes back to work in the 6th. They'll get Adam Rosales, Luis Sardinas, and Michael Choice. Strike 1 to Rosales. You know, this start today comes as something of a reversal between he and Bethancourt, because in their previous 2 as a battery, they did not have anywhere close to this kind of success. 10 1/3. 6 earned runs, 5 walks, and a .349 opponent's batting average. They have completely turned anew here today.
One of the things, Teheran, again, we talked about the 200 innings and over 200 innings. He's only gone 1 time in his last 7 games to completion of 7 innings pitched. So that being a product, of course, sometimes of not getting runs and having to be pinch hit in the National League.
And Rosales jerks that foul.
Got away with a hanger there, but I would think going down the stretch, this is going to be valuable for Julio in his future, and just knowing what September's like when you get a little tired and you got to use your legs, or your legs go and you got to use your mind. And those are things that unfortunately a lot of young pitchers are behind the 8 ball because they're not given the opportunity to pitch any amount of innings based on restrictions.
And a called strike 3 taken by Rosales. That's 5 today for Teheran.
Another pitch that starts on the outside part of the plate and catches the outside corner. This is one pitch he could not make from the first base side of the rubber as accurately as he's making now. And I think this is a big turnaround for Julio, and why his progression has been so good from one year to the next, and the consistency of making those pitches.
Colombian right-hander back to work on the Venezuela-born switch hitter Luis Sardinas. There is something of an international flavor in this game, and certainly in the starting battery today between Bethancourt and Teheran. We talked about how they're having more success this afternoon than they had in each of their last 2 starts. Off the end of the bat and flared foul, but you don't see the kind of countryman combination between Teheran and Bethancourt much as we do today. And for a little bit more, let's bring JP in on this.
Yeah, Matt, this is actually the only combination of a Colombian pitcher and a Panamanian catcher in Major League Baseball history. As you said, it's the 3rd time they've paired up. And actually, Teheran is one of only 5 Colombian-born players in Major League Baseball this year.
Look out. 2 balls and a strike. Two balls and a strike to count to Sardinas. To 3-1. Teheran has walked a batter today, and that was the only Texas base runner so far. That came to lead off the 3rd. That's it. The 3-1 pitch, a little flare out to shallow left center, and the first base hit of the day for Texas.
Off the end of the bat, 3-1 hitters count, so he pretty much was looking fastball, got it, but hit it off the end of the bat, and of course you can tell right away as a pitcher, like, oh, man, darn it. Never want to give up a hit.
One out single for Michael Choice now. Yeah, Julio's reaction there, he was certainly aware of the fact that he had not given up a hit until that moment. His longest no-hit bid came last year, his first full season as a starter. He went 7 2/3 without allowing a hit against the Pirates in June of last season. You know, as far as the frequency of a starter taking a no-hit bid into the 6th, it's happening more and more. In fact, Teheran becomes the 70th time a pitcher has taken a no-hit bid into the 6th inning this season alone. So get through 5 without a no-hitter, cool, but not so special. Get through 7, we got something to talk about. Get through 8, and then everybody's paying attention. It's the first real chance we've had to talk about Teheran's outstanding pickoff move. There's been only one base runner previously. Sardinas has a big lead despite it. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now on Michael Choice. "14 pickoffs since the start of 2013, and that's the most in Major League Baseball. Good jump by Sardinas. And a fly ball out to shallow left center. Bonifacio tracking it from center field, but it's Simmons that makes the catch. Throw to first is not in time to double off Sardinas. He is a wizard out there at that position. With all due respect to Ozzie Smith, the original wizard, Simmons has a few tricks of his own.
He does, and he has this unique ability, obviously, to cover a lot of ground, and obviously he calls it right here. It's the only scene him back away. And watching Simmons, his setup before a pitch is thrown is also unique. Some guys get ready with a stutter step, or they make some kind of different move, but this guy right here, he's already had some incredible game winners. This one right here in New York, that was tying run on third, 2 outs in the 8th. They went on to win that game.
Here's Leonis Martin now with 2 away.
But I always watch different guys and how they get ready before a pitch and what their reaction time is and how they do things. His is unique. He's got both, not all the time, but he's got a wide stance with his legs, both hands on his legs as he gets ready sometimes as the pitch comes, and then he reacts off of that. So he's not moving around a lot.
Line to left. Upton had him played well, but clanks it. Wow, Justin was in the perfect spot to make what looked like a routine play, but couldn't make the catch.
Little stutter step right here. Didn't quite read it as one when he first came off the bat, and then makes that little catch-up move, but does not be able to close the glove with the ball in it. So now a little bit of a rally here. 2 outs. That's when the Braves scored their runs. As a pitcher, you just got to pick up your teammate and make pitches right now and make that feel like that never even happened.
That is scored as the 8th error of the season charged to Justin Upton. It's a high total for a major league outfielder. Here's Elvis Andrus now with runners at first and second and 2 gone. Situations like these have been a challenge for Andrus this year. Since August 11th, he has driven in a total of 2 runs. That covers over 110 at-bats. 2 runners aboard for him here in the 6th with 2 away.
So let's go back to Simmons. You see where he is when the pitcher's there. He just kind of puts his hands right there and stays right there and then reacts. His reaction time is as good as anybody's at shortstop. You see the footwork, but he's not moving. He's not trying to anticipate. He's waiting and then reacting. And at shortstop with his arm, pretty special.
2 balls and a strike to Andrus. You've seen Rafael Furcal come through Atlanta. You played against Sean Dunston. Where does Simmons' arm rank? Those are just 2 that I think of that at that position that pop out.
I think it's probably the best from this angle. He doesn't wind up to do it. Like those other guys had a cannon. Dunston had a cannon. I mean, you could see Grace not wanting to catch the ball at first base sometimes because he'd get those, you know, their grass was bigger and taller in Chicago, and of course he would have more time to wind up and throw it. Simmons just, it's unbelievable what he can do with the combination of his defensive skills and his arm.
Well, the Rangers shortstop, meanwhile, Elvis Andrus not liking the call of home plate umpire and crew chief Bill Miller. Behind 2-2. Even 2-2 rather. And he shoots that into right field. The Rangers not only cracked the hit column for the first time this afternoon in the 6th inning, they get on the board. And it's a 2-1 Atlanta lead.
Well, the fastball beats him, but because he puts it in play, he's able to beat the defense of the Braves. Hits it the other way. And you see the shift right there, hits it down the line. And they couldn't defend that. An unearned run is going to go on the board, but nonetheless a run.
That is just the 35th RBI all season from Elvis Andrus. Before that at bat, he was hitting under 200 with runners in scoring position. And there had been a lot of conversation around here about Elvis's declining numbers. We spoke with Tim Bogar about that yesterday. And it's Tim's assumption, it's his assertion, that Elvis for the first time is in a position where he needs to be one of the leaders on this club. Because outside of Adrian Beltre, you're talking about Elvis Andrus as being one of the longest tenured offensive players that's healthy on the roster. Whereas in the past he's been able to defer to veteran players. He's running here. And the throw into second is not in time. Simmons tried to sell the fact that he had forgotten about Leonis Martin. That was never the case. And the all-time franchise stolen base leader for the Rangers steals another.
That's one area of the club this year has been down. Last year, of course, the Rangers were able to steal 149 bases, which were second in the league. This year have been down a little bit. That's their 91st. They had 90 coming into this series, so every offensive category for the most part has suffered because of the injuries.
Chance for Rougned Odor to drive in a pair with a base hit now. He lays off and takes a strike. It's 1-1. It's a follow-up note on that stolen base by Elvis Andrus. He's the only Ranger to amass 5 seasons of 25 or more bags. To 2-1 now.
Well, the Rangers are going to be playing a lot of teams that are trying to fight for the playoffs, and they can be more reckless. They can try things and do things. I think that's why it's a dangerous time when you're a team fighting for the playoffs, playing a team like the Rangers, because they don't have to follow the prototypical rules that were the custom baseball and how you typically play all year. Astros being another one of those teams that are going to have a say in who makes the playoffs or who has the best record or doesn't make the playoffs.
Close at second base. Close-ish. Andrus is back. 3 balls and a strike to count to Rougned Odor. The tying and go-ahead runs aboard.
Yeah, tough pitch here coming up because you really, even though you have a base open, you really don't act like that base is open because of who's on deck. Beltre's on deck. You got to make your best pitch right here and try to create action to get an out.
Out to left center field. Upton is out there and can't get to it. Both runs will come across to score. And after being in total control all afternoon, Julio Teheran has hit the wall in the 6th. The Rangers with their first lead of the day, 3-2 Texas.
Well, again, all these runs are going to be unearned, but it doesn't matter anymore at this point. This big double clears the bases and gives them the lead after the 3rd out was not made by Justin Upton. And he got behind 3-1 and served one up in the strike zone for Odor to really shoot the gap.
And now the Rangers' most dangerous out, Adrian Beltre, has a chance to make it a 4-run inning. You know, this has gone down in similar fashion to Teheran's last start. You can take a look at what's happened here in this 6th inning. On Sunday in Miami, he retired 13 of the first 14 he faced, and then allowed hits to 6 or 7 of the next 9 batters rather.
Yeah, it really is crazy. And I talk about that as the stress of a close game all the time. Sooner or later, one thing can happen. And the 6th inning is one of his worst innings ERA-wise. It just happens to be that inning.
Beltre with a 1-hopper to third. Goslin's got it. Not before 3 runs can score after a very damaging 2-out error. Fox Saturday Baseball returns after a word from your local Fox station. Major League Baseball presents the walk-off. Great walk-offs are waiting at foxsports.com/Budweiser. Grab some buds. Well, everything was going Julio Teheran's way through 5, but hit that 6th inning wall and yields what was a 2-0 lead. 3-2 Texas as we start playing the top half of the 7th, and we do so with the new pitcher on the mound for the Rangers. A successful first ever major league start for Lisalverto Bonilla. In fact, he's in line for a win if Roman Mendez and company can hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, he's got a firm fastball, pretty straight, 96. Turns his body and goes. He attacks with the pitch. He throws a slider with late breaking at times. Also has a split finger, lateral movement about 87, and an occasional changeup.
Mendez faces La Stella, Simmons, and Pena, bottom third of the Braves order here in the 7th. A 3-run 6th inning for the Rangers delivers their first lead of the afternoon. La Stella sends a fly ball out to left center. Martin has it, and there's one away.
Well, what's significant about that is the fact that the lead after 6 at home, the Rangers haven't been pretty good all year in a lot of statistical categories, but at home they're 16-1, and if they have the lead after 7, they're 19-0. So at home they feel good about their success formula, and the Braves are trying to find a way to not only let that number go to 17-1, they're fighting for their playoffs.
Say that again. They lead at home after 7. They're 17-0.
After 7, 19-0.
19-0. All right. There's Simmons now with one gone. Simmons is single today, 1 for 2. Drives that out to right. Michael Choice is there shy of the track to make the catch. Fans, you can follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit MLB.com today. 2 quick outs for the Dominican-born right-hander as he goes to work now on the number 9 hitter Ramiro Pena. Well, both of the pitchers we've seen for the Rangers this afternoon have been products of somebody else's farm system. Lisalverto Bonilla came from the Phillies in the Michael Young deal a couple of years ago. And now Roman Mendez, who came from the Red Sox in the Jared Saltalamacchia trade in July of 2010. His 2014 season spent at AAA Round Rock. And again, more on the job auditioning for 2015 and beyond. A bouncer up the middle. Andrus gets to it, throws from his derriere, but can't get it to first in time. Boy, Elvis has done a great job just to put his glove on a couple of tough chances today, neither of which he really had a chance to make an out on.
Just when you think it's safe with 2 outs, both clubs have proved otherwise. All the runs coming with 2 outs after plays that should have been made in center field and in left field, respectively, for the Rangers and the Braves. Otherwise, this game very easily could be 0-0. And the Rangers of late, the last 19 games the starters have pitched, a 3.53 ERA. And that's saying something because they have been awful because of the injuries we talked about. Almost last, if it wasn't for the Rockies in baseball. So they've picked it up. And they also have 4 complete game shutouts, which is tied with Detroit and St. Louis. And 6 complete games, which is second. So there's the positive stats for the rotation that hasn't had really much positive things to go on for him this year.
0-1 the count to Emilio Bonifacio. He's walked, singled, stolen a base, and scored today. Out to right center for Michael Choice, and nothing comes with a 2-out single in the 7th. They're up and stretching in Arlington with their Rangers on top by a run. Sponsored by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes cereal. They're great. And by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. Welcome back to Globe Life Park in Arlington, where the Rangers have a 3-2 lead over the Braves. Back with John Smoltz and J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. Pepsi's real big things you need to know about Julio Teheran this afternoon. The Braves have gotten him 2 runs. His first runs of the month. He was good for 5 1/3 of no-hit baseball, and then had to endure 3 unearned runs in the 6th, and trails by a run as he continues this afternoon.
Yeah, he was cruising, and everything was working the way you want it to work as a starter. He's feeling good about the rhythm you're in, and 2-run lead, even though that's not a huge lead, must have felt that way to him. And it just simply came down to a play not being made, and then he couldn't make the one pitch you have to make to pick up your teammate, and he is staring at a 1-run deficit.
By the way, I was going to ask you if you knew the answer to this question, Mr. Braves.
Yeah.
Last Braves no-hitter.
Well, that's a combined no-hitter. It was in L.A. I watched Kent Mercker come out of it. I think it's his first start of the year. He threw a bunch of pitches. It would never have happened today with the pitch limits at all. Yeah, I think Leo hit the clicker when it came to a combined no-hitter.
And didn't the Braves have a combined no-hitter in 91 as well?
91.
Alejandro Pena
they
finished
did,
it
yeah,
off.
that was 5 pitchers, wasn't it? Something
Yeah.
like that? That's right. Good memory.
Ryan Rua leads things off in the 7th. Yeah, we had all these no-hit notes ready to go. It's a fly ball out to center field. And 1 away for Teheran to start the 7th. The only no-hitter in this ballpark, Kenny Rogers in 1994 against the Angels.
Kenny Rogers.
Same year of the last Braves no-hitter. That was in L.A.?
In L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kent Mercker. Well, fastballs and a couple changeups.
Here's Tomas Telis now. 1 away, bases empty for the Rangers catcher, who is hitless so far today. Catcher, one of the positions that one would guess is something of an open audition for 2015 between Robinson Chirinos. Telis is up from AAA to get some at-bats here late.
Well, you've had one in the booth, right? You had a no-hitter?
Only one.
I'm young in this industry. I've yet to have one.
Last year, it was awesome. In Cincinnati, Homer Bailey against the Giants.
And a very energetic Casey with you, right?
Yeah.
Sean Casey?
Yeah, Bailey's second career no-hitter. It's a big swing and a miss, and Taillise goes down on 3 pitches. Anything better than a no-hitter in the postseason, Roy Halladay style?
Man.
I just don't think you could ask for anything more. This October, history will be made as baseball's postseason moves to America's new sports network. Fox Sports 1 is your new home for baseball's National League Division and Championship Series, and it all begins October 3rd. Two quick outs for Tehran. Now Adam Rosales, who has walked and struck out today.
Wasn't that his first postseason game he ever pitched? Or am I getting that wrong with Doc Holliday?
I think it was.
They were a little worried about, like, oh, all right, he's pitched all these games. I wonder how his first is going to go.
yeah, right.
It's pretty good.
That one comes close, but does not somehow hit Adam Rosales.
Joe Simpson and Brian Anderson had that call.
Stepped all over it, I'm sure. 2 balls and a strike to count to Rosales.
Carpenter and Holliday had that epic Game 5, 1-0, of which the Howard ends the game tearing his Achilles.
Hit right on the screws, but right at Justin Upton, and it's a 1-2-3 7th, authored by Julio Tehran, still trailing by a run. Rangers having a little fun this afternoon, up by a run, and the left side of their infield, despite a down year, has had their moments of fun as well. Speaking of Elvis Andrus and Adrian Beltre, whatever you do, do not touch Adrian Beltre's head. Back to work is the right-handed reliever Roman Mendez, and his first offering to Phil Gosselin is hit into center field. There's one away.
Yeah, you got to have fun in this game. You can't let it eat you up, and those guys certainly do have fun.
This is what happens if you try to touch Adrian Beltre's head. Bedlam.
He snaps.
He does not like it. Whether it's a teammate, an opponent, a coach, stop it. Even Ron Washington couldn't completely get away with it. We're going to have a pitching change. Michael Kirkman called on from the Texas bullpen, and we'll be right back. Well, the Rangers have no shortage of left-handers available out of their bullpen, and they have selected one of them, the big long left-hander Michael Kirkman, to try to retire Freddie Freeman with one out in the eighth. 0-1 the count on Freddie Freeman, who has delivered a big hit today. The RBI double back in the third. Takes a strike and falls behind 0-2.
You can see why he's tough on left-handers. He actually steps a little bit towards them and then throws that breaking ball away from them. More than likely just going to face one hitter trying to get Freddie Freeman out and then turn the bullpen into matchups on however Tim Bogar wants to go.
A pair of right-handers are up throwing in the Texas pen as we speak as the 0-2 misses outside. Well, this was not the way the weekend was supposed to start for the Atlanta Braves. In the thick of the wild card race, a one-run loss yesterday, trailing by a run this afternoon. And the Braves have seen their share of those one-run losses.
Yeah, it just comes almost too easily at times when you're struggling. You just find ways to lose by one. You know, baseball is obviously you lose by one, you lose by 10. It's worth the same, but
Freeman with a high drive out to right. Choice tracking and making the catch shy of the track.
Drives you crazy as a manager, though, when you're so close and you get the pitching performances like yesterday. You knew you were going to face Holland. It was going to be a tough gig for your offense.
Second pitching change of the inning for Texas. We'll be right back. The rookie right-hander Spencer Patton, who has a September call-up, is having a pretty good month. J.P. Morosi with more.
Call-up itself is the best part of his month, but actually it's not. He joined the Rangers on September 4th. The day before that, he was home in his hometown in Illinois for the birth of his first child, a son by the name of Brewer. So certainly the month keeps getting better and better. Earlier this week, he faced the iron of the Angels lineup and retired them in order: Trout, Pujols, and Howie Kendrick. And when I spoke with him after Thursday's game, he was holding two baseballs in his hand, one signed by Trout, one signed by Pujols. He wants to start a collection for his son, Brewer. He has one other ball already. That's signed by John Smoltz's old teammate, Greg Maddux.
It's pretty neat stuff, and maybe he can, if things go according to his plan, get Justin Upton to sign a ball at some point this weekend. It is Upton in a one-run game and 2 away in the top half of the 8th inning.
He's going to attack with fastballs, and he's got a slider with pretty good downward tilt when it's down and below the strike zone. Get hitters to chase that pitch.
Quickly in front, 0-2.
But the radar gun doesn't do it justice. He's got a quick arm action. The ball kind of comes out in a spot where the hitter obviously doesn't pick it up. So 90 miles an hour is good enough for Spencer.
Jason Hayward waits next should Upton succeed in trying to keep the 8th inning alive. Braves have their middle of the order here in the 8th. Down a run late. Just another kind of excuse me emergency hack that keeps it at 0-2.
That's why a pitcher always wants the guy to get checked on a check swing. See what happened right there in that check swing? You can hit a double.
And a swing and a miss. And a good month for Spencer Patton. Just keeps getting better and better still. And it's still a one-run game in Arlington. Today's telecast is sponsored by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball, and by Chevrolet. Find new roads. A reminder, follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit MLB.com today. Luis Sardinas leads things off in the home eighth with the Rangers on top of the postseason hopeful Braves by a run. Braves suffering a one-run loss here in the opener yesterday, down by a run in the 11th hour this afternoon. Julio Teheran has been very good today, with the exception of the 3-run sixth, and all 3 of those runs were unearned after the Justin Upton error. He'd be cruising along with a 2-0 lead in the books.
And it's those extra pitches that you end up having to throw after a team gives you a few outs or an opportunity that can sometimes take you out of a ball game late in the game. But he's been able to do what he needs to do to stay in here and possibly get that rare complete game loss that he does not want to get.
Yeah, he's already suffered through one of those this year, and that was at the end of July in Los Angeles. The Domino's game summary. Yeah, Teheran into the 8th inning trailing. On the other side of the scorecard, Liz Alberto Bonilla was very good through 6 innings, making his first ever major league start. Atlanta has scored 31 come from behind wins this season, one of the higher totals in the National League. One gone for Michael Choice.
Well, like I said, you go through progressions in your career. Young player Teheran is certainly learning now a full season of 200+ innings, making his starts.
Out to right center field, and Bonifacio sets up and makes the catch. It's possible to set up while you're still running. That's what he did.
He's won games in every month. 2-1 in April, 3-2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-2, with the ERA going up just slightly in every month. In September, he is a inning away from going 0-3, which is not an indicator of the kind of month he's had. It's just an indicator of no runs and some tough luck.
There's Leonis Martin now with 2 out. When you talk about the extra pitches that he had to throw after the error in the 6th inning, and the number was 13. And I don't know that might sound like a lot to the lay fan, but that certainly makes a difference moving forward. He's out of the inning without that error. He's not only out of the inning, he's still got a shutout in check. Into the 8th inning this afternoon. This is his longest start since that other complete game loss. Shouldn't use the word other because the Braves still have a shot. To the 9th, down by a run. returns with a doubleheader on Fox as the Illinois Fighting Illini square off against the Washington Huskies, and then Brett Hundley and the 12th-ranked UCLA Bruins take on the Texas Longhorns right across the street here. Coverage begins next on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And I would imagine, John Smoltz, that a few folks are going to be finishing up baseball, walking across the way over to Jerry's house and watching the Bruins and the Longhorns later on tonight. What a big sports day here in the Metroplex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pitching change as the Rangers perhaps try to match up in the ninth. Not sure Neil Kotz will get the whole ninth inning, but he certainly gets the leadoff hitter Jason Hayward.
Yeah, Jason Hayward has struggled against left-handers. Really, splits are bad as left-handers only hitting 175. Right-handers he's hitting at a 309 clip. So if he could improve that going into not only the rest of this month but next year, bodes well for.
Ball and 2 strikes to count to Jason Hayward.
I know. I just hope, and I know a lot of people hope, that we change the rule next September, that you're allowed to have as many people up as you want, but you only can have a set roster where you can use those guys for that particular game. Because we've got it backwards. If there's any team that needs help, it's in April. Now, sure, the call-ups and all the experience they can get, but you could go through 14 pitchers if you wanted to and drag the game out when it means the most. So that's got to change. I hope the new commissioner will take a look at that and give an adjustable roster for every club.
Still a 2-strike count. It remains 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jason Hayward.
Because in the regular season for 5 months, you don't have the opportunities to bring 5 lefties out of the pen. Now you can do whatever you want. Now you can really literally put 1 pitcher per batter for the last 2 innings and make it difficult.
The 2-2 from Kotz is hit on the ground to second for Rougned Odor, and there is 1 away in the top of the ninth. Neil Kotz is the owner of 2 career saves. His last 5 appearances have not gone particularly well. He's 0-2 with a blown save in that span. He's allowed 8 runs in 5 innings. And he's going to have an opportunity now to stick around and face a right-handed hitter in Christian Bethancourt. Takes a strike.
Based on La Stella being the DH, we'll see what Freddie does if he decides to pinch hit and make Tim make a decision.
And a base hit to left. Tying run aboard with 1 out in the ninth.
This ball, you got to protect against doubles, so you see him closer to the line, and that ball is hit pretty hard.
A reminder, nonstop action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2014 postseason beginning September 30th. Here comes Mike Maddox now. And Mike Maddox puts that trademark right hand on the young pitcher's shoulder.
Yeah, that's the old find the pulse. His heartbeat's racing. Just trying to figure out where your pitcher is and his heartbeat and the scenario he's trying to play out. And of course the Braves counter with Chris Johnson pinch hitting.
This is much more an attaboy conversation than it is anything designed to get a bullpen hot. And as John mentions, Freddie Gonzalez will go to one of his more reliable RBI men, Chris Johnson, a non-starter today. He gets a more favorable matchup at the same time. A right-handed batter representing the go-ahead run. A man aboard with 1 away. On the other side of it, Neil Kotz actually has what's referred to as reverse splits, meaning left-handed batters, almost counterintuitively, have hit him better than right-handers. Right-handed hitters like Chris Johnson, just a .247 average against Kotz this year.
Those are pretty good splits.
Yeah, as far as Chris Johnson is concerned, he's just fine with this. Much better numbers against left-handed pitching. I don't know that it's an overstatement, John, to talk about how urgent a night like last night would have been for the Braves. A game like today is for Atlanta, including today. 3 back with 15 left on the regular season, and a couple of teams to try to get over in the wild card race. These are big moments.
Really are. It just keeps putting more pressure on you. You don't have the luxury of having a hiccup. You're going to have to go in a 11-3, 11-4 stretch. If you lose this game, it just makes that stretch even harder and harder.
Johnson with the ball into the left field corner that Rua makes a play on for route number 2. And Atlanta is down to its final out this afternoon. Milwaukee plays later on tonight. They're home with the Reds. The Giants are home again with the Dodgers, and with an opportunity, if they can beat Zach Greinke, to move into a 2-way tie for first place in the West.
If you're a Braves fan, you're hoping that Andrelton Simmons can change a statistic. 92 hits he's put in play on the first pitch without a home run. He's going to be aggressive.
Strike 1 to Simmons.
Got to be thinking gap if you're Andrelton.
Big swing and a miss, and the Braves are down to the last strike this afternoon. Two strikes.
The Rangers haven't won a lot of games at home, but this formula with the lead after the 8th inning, they 20-0, looking to go to 21-0.
Over 31,000 fans here at Globe Life Park this afternoon. Most encouraging in what's been a down year in Arlington. And a wave and a miss, and the Rangers have interrupted Atlanta's postseason plans with a pair of 1-run losses handed to the Braves to start this 3-game weekend series. 3-2 Texas, the final score today. This afternoon's T-Mobile Game Changer player profile. A young right-hander making his first ever major league start, and doing so against a playoff hopeful team, pitching well enough to earn the victory. 6 innings of work, allowed just 4 hits and 2 earned runs. Liz Alberto Bonilla, the winning pitcher this afternoon. Final score today: the Rangers have made it 2 in a row over the Braves with a 3-2 win. And we'll send you back to Los Angeles. Ryan Field, Eric Karros, and Frank Thomas.